Backyard wrestling used to really be a thing. Well, I guess it's always been a thing, as long as there's been pro wrestling in backyards. Bill Apter has bragged about being the world's first backyard wrestler, which would be a strangest trait if he wasn't also a Benoit truther. I never did any backyarding myself, outside of, I guess, an incident in college where a friend attempted to give me a scorpion death drop on his couch after an episode of Nitro, which led to us breaking his hand, my nose, and his roommate's couch, but I am sympathetic. I can't condone wrestling without proper training. It's dangerous enough even if you are trained. But if you're a kid and you have an interest in something, there's usually a way for you to experience it. You can try Little League if you like baseball, or Pop Warner if you want a head start on getting concussions. But there's no pro wrestling summer camp. If you want to experience it, you either have to do it yourself or play wrestling video games. When I said backyarding used to be a thing, I meant that in the early 2000s there was a lot of mainstream media on the subject. It was the focus of an MTV True Life episode, an episode of Ricky Lake, a documentary, and a series of pay-per-views and videos, largely focusing on crazy and unsafe stunts. Of course, whenever anything catches on as a trend, you get a video game about it. With Backyard Wrestling, Don't Try This at Home for the PS2 and Xbox, in what has to be the most disingenuous title ever. I get that they're trying to limit liability and not have anybody copy this, but isn't the whole point of Backyard Wrestling trying it at home? It would be like if I made a basketball game and subtitled it, Don't Throw the Ball at the Hoop. Your first question is probably, what the hell does a Backyard Wrestling game look like? Is it just a wrestling game set in various backyards? Well, Backyard Wrestling doesn't really take place in backyards, nor is it really a wrestling game. It's more of a 3D fighter like Power Stone, only, well, bad. For every match, you can use strikes and grapple moves, as well as an abundance of plunder. There aren't ropes, but there are plenty of high places to jump off of. The grappling moves range from basic wrestling holds to physically impossible combos, and the gameplay has a bunch of weird quirks. Anytime you move in one direction, you'll almost immediately break into a sprint, which can be very disconcerting. When your opponent throws an object, it seems to seek you out like a homing missile. And apparently everyone in the game is a hemophiliac, as every move causes blood to spurt out of every wrestler. Matches end when you drain your opponent's life bar and cause a knockout. Kinda weird, because pretty much every backyard wrestling match I've seen ended with a pinfall or submission, or the promoter's mom telling them it was time for supper. You can have matches in a variety of locales outside of backyards, including a mall parking lot and a nightclub, where pro wrestling events have actually been held.
She's a bore.
This is actually my favorite part of the game. The interactive environments remind me a lot of the backstage brawling in SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, even if I'm not sure why there's a woolly mammoth at a truck stop. Anyway, your next question is probably, who's in a game about backyard wrestling? Actual backyard wrestlers? And, well, yes, there are several wrestlers who are featured in the backyard wrestling pay-per-views I mentioned earlier. But there are also a bunch of actual independent wrestlers in the game. Sabu and Madman Pondo are in the game, and they were both in Fire Pro Return, so that's quite the video game resume. There's also Josh Prohibition and M-Dogg 20, the latter of whom, Matt Cross, went on to a varied career, including runs in Ring of Honor, Wrestle Society X, Tough Enough, and Lucha Underground. He probably sees his appearance here as the equivalent of stripping to put himself through college. There's also a heavy Insane Clown Posse presence in the game, not surprising since it was programmed by Kevin Gill, who currently produces Conan's podcast and is in tight with the ICP. You only get 9 wrestlers to start, unlocking the rest after completing a series of challenges. Or you can just enter a code on the menu screen. Guess which I did. The graphics are somewhat of a mixed bag. The settings are fairly detailed, but the characters all have this blocky look like they're on the N64. The voice acting is also terrible. So bad I'm surprised it doesn't show up on those worst acting in video games countdowns.
You break my phone!
The Rude Boy invented backyard wrestling.
The game's soundtrack features a lot of ICP, but also contributions from future Rock and Roll Hall of Famers like Bowling for Soup, Rumblefish, and American Hi-Fi. There's also a Sum 41 song here. No, not that one.
So am I still waiting?
No, another one. Yeah, that one. This game has one of the most paltry creator wrestler modes I've ever seen. You get to enter a name, so good start there. As far as appearance, you get 15 body types, with 12 mildly varying appearances for each type. And that's it. You don't get to choose hair or customize outfits or use what colors you want or anything we had seen for years at that point. As far as moves, you get to choose a whopping 8 grapple moves and then your style, which has categories like Leaping Wonder and Killer Kitty Cat. Speaking of moves, Backyard Wrestling decided to give all of its moves really weird names. A rock bottom is labeled as free falling, while a suplex is listed as a lumberjack drop. I don't think you'll get sued if you call something a suplex. There is something of a story mode, titled Talk Show Mode here, centered around, well, a trashy talk show.
Welcome to the show. Today's topic is backyard wrestling, the scourge of our nation's youth. Now, I'm not talking about whacking your buddy with a pine cone or knocking your sister into the hedges. That's good, clean fun. These backyard wrestlers are beating each other brain dead with light bulbs and barbed wire? Why?
We get to hear from people whose lives have been adversely affected by backyard wrestling, including ICP and Santa? And then we play out those scenarios via a series of matches. And that's about it. It does unlock basically the only other match options in the game, Tag and King of the Hill, which actually sound kind of fun, but they're 2-player only, so I'm not entirely sure what the point is. Oh look, the difficulty settings are normal, hard, and porn star, horror. If you watch the assorted music videos that are included, there are a lot of scantily clad backyard babes, which is far more laughable than offensive. Nothing the ladies love more than backyard wrestling.
How long have you guys been wrestling?
13 years. 12 years.
12? Wow.
This is probably a weird comparison, but backyard wrestling is like a crappy movie tie-in video game. They took the basic concept and made a game around it, only the gameplay is shallow, the graphics not overly impressive, and the creator wrestler almost non-existent. Still, must have done pretty well, because we actually got a sequel. But that's for another time. Until then, thanks for watching, and remember, the winner is you.